Hello, everyone. Welcome to our weekly coffee chat. Recently, we a little bit spoiled the cadence, but now we are promising to be back and to show you exciting things more often. For those who don't know what coffee chat is, first of all, let me introduce you the format. The coffee chat is something that we do a few times in a month to demo our new features or to showcase some nice use cases and to give online feedback from our audience to stay in touch. And in the end of the stream, we usually give the users the time to ask us anything, not necessarily about the things we demoed, but something they might be interested in. To get more information about the format and to review our previous sessions, you can access our Coffee Chat wiki page, where you can find all the recordings of the previous sessions, everything needed for you to contact us in case you have any questions, and just make yourself familiar with what it is. And to not use much of your time today, I would go straight away to what we'll be doing today. Today we have Laura, who is our software engineer, and we're thrilled to dive into the Night City. Yes, the world of Cyberpunk 2077 is here. So Laura, the floor is yours.
All right,
Let
me go to my presentation here. All right, so what I did here today is a little chat interface where I can use a little program that runs a Kedro pipeline on the background using Kedro and LangChain to ask questions about Cyberpunk and only about Cyberpunk. So how did I get this idea? So it all started with a LangChain prompt dataset that we were writing, and I wanted to test this, right? So what is this? This is a dataset that would wrap existing Kedro datasets like text dataset, JSON dataset, or YAML into something that could load a prompt template or chat prompt template object from LangChain and allow it to use it on your data catalog. So I could have all my prompts on my data directories in Kedro, load them as datasets and use them in my pipelines easily. Cool. I wanted to see if this was working, and I had like unit tests and mock data and all of that, but I wanted to try it with a real LLM call just to see, just to test it on the field. How does this work? Is this working well? So that's what I did. And by the way, this is available as an experimental dataset on Kedro datasets. If anyone wants to play with this, feel free to do it. Give us feedback. It's working. Okay, so because I am very nerdy and I wanted to use a theme that I like to do this little test, I use Cyberpunk 2077 for 3 reasons. The first is if I wanted to do something that it's going to retrieve data on a specific theme. Cyberpunk is a theme that's like complete. It's a complete game with a currently finite amount of lore, items, mechanics. So there's no information coming about Cyberpunk all the time. Like what we have is all there is. The second is it kind of fits the theme of AI, right? It's like it's a futuristic dystopian city and there's AI in the game. And the third one is that I have played this game a lot. So I was pretty confident that if the thing started hallucinating, I would catch it because I know a lot about this game. Cool. So this is a base idea of what I did. I'm going to tell you how I did it and some hurdles that I bumped into in the way. Okay, let's start with data, right? So I need some data. This is what I had initially. What is this? This is a very large text file, which is roughly around 400 pages worth of text. That's a complete transcript of the game. All the dialogue in a playthrough, which is a player collected this. So I was thinking, well, maybe I can make this this LangChain prompt dataset bot be able to retrieve information from this specific test and nothing else. So I got here my prompt, which it started as a text file that would be turned into a prompt template. Eventually, I changed it to a JSON file that is a chat prompt template. So the LangChain prompt dataset will load both of those. But what it's saying is like giving me a system prompt, like this is an expert Cyberpunk lore, use only the information I'm giving you as context, do not use information that's not giving you as context, because I wanted it to be very specific. And then I would pass, on my pipeline run, I would pass it as context. And then I tried to run this and I found my first issue, which is this is very, very large. And obviously I cannot send this 15,000 line file as a prompt to an LLM. This is too much. And all those models, they have like limits on how many tokens you can send at once. I don't remember exactly which model has which limit, but this is definitely too much for any of them. So the first thing I did was like chunking this transcript. So I broke it down into little pieces. And those little pieces have a little overlap of 200 characters each. So this helps me not lose context when I break them down. And another thing that helped me a lot when I was figuring this out is I decided to parameterize everything in this project, from the size of the chunks on this, or to like which LLM model I'm using, what's the temperature. I can pass it all as Kedro parameters, and it makes it so much easier to experiment with all those numbers and see what's the different results I get. So I did this, I chunked all my transcript, and then because I was just testing things, I just matched words. I looked for the same words that I had in my prompt and my chunks to select what was the right chunk to send as context to the LLM, and the output was really, really bad. It would either just say, I don't have this information because I told it to not make shit up, or it would, if I didn't say that on the prompt, it would just make stuff up, or sometimes it would find a piece of the context that was completely unrelated. So it was giving me a response, so cool, the dataset works. But the response was really bad. It wasn't what I wanted. So then what I did, decided to do some adjustments on it. The first thing that I did is I was breaking this transcript into chunks and saving them as JSON files, and then I had an index in which I could find those JSON files to find the right one, and that doesn't work very well. So I turned it all into a partition dataset. That by itself helped a little bit. Then another thing that I did is, like, if you look at the transcript itself, you see it has this, the character names are always followed by like a colon, right? So what I could do is also I could extract those character names and use them in my search for context. So like if a prompt contained a character name, I could also use this character name to find the piece of information that I wanted. And that helped a little bit. But it was still bad. It still didn't, especially if a question did not involve a character name, it just didn't find what I wanted. So what I did was bite the bullet, and I'm going to use semantic search in this. I decided to use sentence transformers to generate semantic embeddings from that transcript data. And that helped a lot. That made a huge difference. It was much better. But was it good? No. Why was it not good? Because this data is not good. Like, you cannot fix that, right? No matter what technique you use in your pipelines, this data is just not good. Why is it not good? Because it's just dialogue. And the game contains much more than dialogue. It contains information that's not said by the characters, things that happens in the scenes, but nobody talks about it. You just see it. So I needed more data. I needed a lot more data to actually give this LLM a context of what's happened. So what I decided to do is go to the wiki. So we have a Cyberpunk wiki that has about 15,000 pages of information on the game, maintained by a very dedicated community. And I downloaded this whole wiki as this very, very big JSON file, which is very nice because it's already in a key value format. So it makes it very convenient. And I did some basic cleanup on it. I just removed some pages there are just redirect to other pages. So I just remove all of them, and that left me with about 13,000 pages out of text. I removed some stuff like markdown syntax and image tags that were not relevant, and I got a pretty decent amount of information here. And then how am I going to put this on a way that I can find context for my LLM? I thought about using a vector database, but I didn't do that for two reasons. The first is like I already testing one new data set, and I did not want to write a wrapper for a vector database. There will be another custom data set. And also I kind of want to see if I just push Kedro, how far can I go? Can I solve this problem with just the Kedro datasets that already exist? And the answer was yes. If you look here on my catalog, I am saving my wiki embeddings on a pickle dataset, and it works fine. It did a pretty good job. So let me run it now, and let's see how this works. I'm gonna Kedro run. So you see it's finding my relevant context, and there it is. It's prompting me to ask a question. And I can ask a question, for example, who is the protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077? Or better, who's the protagonist of the game? Because it should already know I'm talking about the game, right? The Cyberpunk 2077. And it gave, of course, because this is a live demo, it gave me a different game because the wiki contains the other RPGs, like the Cyberpunk Red and Cyberpunk 2020, the tabletop RPGs. So if I ask the question again, who's the protagonist of Cyberpunk 2077? That never happened before. Like those rogue AIs are tricksy. So if I ask this, the response that is V, which is correct. I can also ask questions because now I have all the wiki content. I can ask questions about things that are not characters or plot. For example, I like to hit headshots. So suggest me some weapons that are good to hit for hitting headshots. And he does suggest me some weapons, and they all exist. These are real weapons in the game. And let's say, for example, okay, I think the description of the headsman, this sounds like a cool weapon. Where can I find it? And then it tells me where in the game I can get this weapon. So this is pretty convenient. Another interesting thing, which is leveraging that LangChain prompt data set, I can ask, what was my last question? And it kind of remembers. So you might notice that this is all within one single Kedro session. I'm asking multiple questions. Is one Kedro run? So what I did here, it's what I called a little bit of a cursed loop. Let me find the correct node. I didn't want to run a Kedro session for every single question for this, and I did wanted to use the possibility of sending back the contest and refeeding it into the prompt, because the chat prompt template from LangChain allows me to do that. It allows me to keep that chat and keep using it as a prompt. So I made a little loop for that, and I'm just calling my nodes back as function. Maybe it's a little bit unorthodox, but that thing dawned on me that this is just Python and I can do whatever I want. So I just did whatever I wanted and put a endless loop here. If I type exit, it finishes the pipeline run. So that worked well. And then so let me show this here. This is kind of how this loop is working. Is very simple. It has an exit condition, and I just run all the nodes that find context and add to the history, and then I append it to this prompt object that's saved as a chat prompt template and keep going back to it until I tell it to exit. But then I thought, so this would be really cool if I could put it on Discord. So like imagine I'm playing the game and I have Discord on my second screen where I'm talking to my friends. And it would be really cool if I had this as a Discord bot that that I can ask questions to. So that's what I did. Let me bring Discord in here. No, that's okay. And then I can bring my Discord here. And you can see here, I have on my members list, I have this Kedro 2077 bot. And I have this bot.py file here. So this is using a wrapper for the Discord API for Python called discord.py. And what I'm doing here, I am bootstrapping Kedro and calling my pipelines. You can see I'm configuring my Kedro project here and just triggering those pipeline runs through something I write on Discord. So Discord board, you can configure it to kind of observe your chat. And when you type a certain word or when you DM the bot or at the bot, it will do a certain action. So that's exactly what I am doing here. So if I run this bot.py, you see my Discord user here, my Kedro 2077 Discord use just came online. So I can, for example, let me just give more space to the text here. I'm going to add Kedro 77, make a query, and ask who is Johnny Silverhand. And you see it starts triggering a Kedro pipeline, which is exactly the same thing that he was doing on the CLI. But instead of just running on a loop, what it's doing is running a Kedro pipeline, and then this bot we're going to capture the memory data set that is the output of this that has a string in it, which is this response. And another thing that's interesting because of the way it's searching for context, that's working really nice. I can, for example, make questions that are a little more indirect. For example, if I wanted to know about Johnny Silverhand, I can ask about Johnny Silverhand, but I can ask in a very cyberpunk way, for example, tell me about the tomb that blew up Arasaka Tower. And he tells me again that it was Johnny Silverhand, because this information is contained in some point of the wiki. And because of that, you can use it as an assistant for other in-game stuff. For example, let me say something I would ask while I'm playing the game. What's the closest travel point to Clouds, which is a location in the game? And it gives me the closest travel point. Or, for example, a question that would be completely different, will make no sense outside of the cyberpunk context, but if I ask it this question here, it will give me the cyberpunk answer for it. For example, where can I get cat food? Because that's a thing you can get in the game. Absolutely no cyberpunk references to it. And it tells me where I can get cat food in the game, because that's an item in the game that you can get. One interesting thing that I had to do to make this work is because Kedro pipelines are blocking, right? So I had to use the async IO library to make sure it spawns a new thread every time. You can have multiple users. They're querying this bot at the same time. So it's going to spawn a new thread, this bot, and run each question separately. So this server is just me on it. I made it for this presentation, but I've tested it with multiple Discord users querying the bot at the same time, and it will give everyone their response. And I can also, if I want to rebuild my embeddings, for example, I can do it through Discord as well. So I can just give it the build command, and it's gonna start rebuilding the embeddings for the wiki here. And while it does that, I can also show, because you might notice this does two very different things. I have one way of calling the same pipeline that's ending up on a loop, and another that's ending up on giving me a string, which is this output of the bot. So I thought, how am I going to do this in a way that doesn't make me repeat too much code? Because Kedro is all about good practice for software, and I did not want to have, for example, two pipelines that are nearly identical, because this would not be the best practice. So what I did here is leveraging the tags function on Kedro. So I have two tags, Discord and CLI, and these two nodes. So this is the same pipeline. They share this function to find relevant context, and they share the formatting of the prompt itself. And then I have these two separate nodes. They're similar but not identical. One of them has that loop that will end up in that little CLI conversation, and one will output the string for Discord, and I control which one I'm calling through tags. Let me get rid of Discord here. Control which one I'm calling through tags here. So it's kind of like a bifurcated pipeline. And this is kind of how it ended. This is what I got at the final result of it. It's available on Kedro Academy if anyone wants to download it and try it and play with it, try to use different data, feel free to do it. But this is how it's working right now. I hope this was fun. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you so much for walking us through for such a nice demo. It's really inspiring to see how people combine their personal hobbies and passions with Kedro and Jenny a little bit to create something practical and at the same time fun. So currently is a good time to ask your questions. I already can see some, but first of all, we see some comment probably saying something exciting about the demo. Yeah. Then another comment from Meryl saying the same thing but in words. And the actual question, how long did it take to build it?
I did it like bit by bit over a couple weeks. I don't really know how long it would have taken if I had just like, okay, I'm going to focus only on this. There was 1 week where I focused on it more, but I think the hardest part was just experimenting, like that early experimentation with the chunking and trying to get the context. After I got the wiki data, I think things flowed very quickly. And the Discord bot part was very quick. It was very easy to use. The documentation of Discord is very good. And the documentation of Discord.py was also very good. So I built this in a day. It was very, very easy to use.
Yeah, that's nice. And one more question from me while we're waiting for other users to come. You've mentioned that you were so experienced in this game that you could easily fight with hallucinations. Like, what exactly you've done with the solution to make sure it's not hallucinating?
Sometimes it still hallucinates, but it's rare. I try to like work with the prompt to make sure that it does not like it's very clear. Like only give me answers based on the context, and do not get answers that are not included in the context. It has this double negative, like do not do this. And that worked. It was like a little bit of a tweaking of the prompt. That worked pretty well. Sometimes it gives me something that's not 100% accurate, but most of the time it gives me information that actually exists. It was like mostly like tweaking the prompt.
Yeah, that's cool. And I'm pretty sure while you were progressing with adding additional sources of information, and should have been improving with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish there was like other sources I could add really, because I thought about getting stuff from Reddit, but Reddit is very opinionated. Like people insert their own views of the plot, so it's not very objective. And of course, I'm also guilty of that. I have my preferences. This game does get people with very heightened emotions, so I chose to just stick to the more factual data.
Yeah, that's cool. And it's also nice to see an example of a community that is so thoughtful about wiki pages and documenting everything you can use later on.
That's incredibly nice to see. It's a very nice wiki.
And one more question from me, like what are the next steps for this work? You mentioned that this is already available in the Kedro Academy, which is the separate repo. And are you going to promote this work someone else?
So there's going to be a blog post. It's going to be on the Quantum Black Medium blog. That's going to come out next week on, I don't know exactly, but it's interesting because next week is actually the anniversary of the release of Cyberpunk on the 10th. So it turned out very good, like a very good timing, right? So this blog post is going to come out, and it's going to have more of the history of how this was built and more detail on how it works, if anyone wants to read it.
Yeah, that sounds like a perfect timing.
Yeah, it was lucky. It was lucky timing.
So did you think of that before you've created
No.
this example? It's just like coincidence.
It was absolutely coincidental.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, I do see some other comments. That's a question. I didn't know about Kedro Academy repos. What available resources?
Well, that's very nice that this is leading people to Kedro Academy, because there's a lot of really cool stuff there. Not only this, but like several other projects.
Yeah, feel free to come there, explore the projects we have there, and like drop us a message in a Slack if you want to see some other examples, or you find something is valuable for you and it's missing there. Or if you have something like you want to share with us, or some creative ways of using Kedro, feel free to join our community, speak with us as well. We're really welcome to have a coffee chat with some external person as well who wants to present the work or wants to contribute to Academy or the main Kedro repo. We have 2 more minutes for our questions, but just to remind that we have our amazing Slack community, which is very responsive, supportive, and understanding. In case you have any issues or questions or things you want to share, please come there and drop your question. And for those who can't see this stream live, the recording will be available as usual on LinkedIn and YouTube. So I hope it will be useful for you no matter when you watch it. And since no one seemed coming, probably everyone is already off for the Christmas preparation, celebrations, and whatever festive activities. I can just wrap up, say thank you so much, Laura, once again for the amazing demo, and thank you all for joining us. We'll be doing our last coffee chat this year in 2 weeks' time, so please join and don't miss the announcement. And see you in 2 weeks, as usual.
All right. Thank you very much.